मैं काली दाह में कूद पड़्यो, मैं काली दाह में कूद पड़्यो, और काली नाग से युद्ध कियो, और काली नाग से युद्ध कियो, मैं फण फण पे नृत्य कियो, फण फण पे नृत्य कियो, इसीलिए काला हूँ, इतना बता दे काना, तेरा रंग काला क्यों, तू काला होकर भी जग से निराला क्यों। फिर से, मैं काली दाह में कूद पड़्यो, और काली नाग को नाथ लियो, मैं काली दाह में कूद पड़्यो, और काली नाग इसीलिए काला हूँ, मैं फण फण पे नृत्य कियो, इसीलिए काला हूँ। आहा, यूनाइटेड किंगडम, लंदन तैयार हो जाइए।
United Kingdom, so London, get ready.
भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने सोचा,
So Lord Shri Krishna thought
भारत में लोग रेन डांस करेंगे,
that people will start rain dancing in India.
लोग रेन डांस करते हैं,
So people do rain dance.
मनीष शर्मा जी अभी महाबलेश्वर रॉक
Our
डांस करके आए हैं,
well-wisher and friend Mohandas went to Mahabaleshwar and did a rock dance.
रेन डांस करते हैं, रॉक
So Krishna thought that
अपने को
people
के करना,
perform rain dance or rock dance, so I should do something that is different.
कालिया डांस किया,
So Lord Shri Krishna did Kaliya dance.
फण के ऊपर,
He
के मस्तक के ऊपर
danced on the hoods of
कृष्ण ने डांस किया।
Kaliya snake.
भगवान तो भगवान है ना,
And Lord is Lord,
कालिया नाग
our
को
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
देखकर डांस करते हैं,
So when we see a snake, then we also dance, but that is something different.
को देखकर नाचते हैं,
We dance on seeing the snake. And Krishna was dancing over the hood of the snake. So that is the difference
भगवान के
between
इतना अंतर है,
a servant and the master.
नाचते हैं और भगवान सांप के ऊपर नाचते हैं। मैं ये पॉइंट इसलिए स्मरण मुझे
So
हो रहा है, हम
I'm just reminding this that because we all are chanting the holy names of the Lord, and while chanting the holy names of the Lord, we are
तो सखाओं ने
remembering the Lord.
पूछा, कृष्ण तो
So
काला क्यों है? ये कृष्ण
Radharani and
बनाने में हमारा हाथ है।
the associates or eternal associates ask Krishna, why are you dusky skinned? And it is all because of us. So please listen, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is scholar in our disciplic succession, and it is his perspective which he mentioned in Sararth Darshini.
कृष्ण क्या किए, कथा तो आप जानते हैं।
As you all are aware of the past time,
कृष्ण ब्रज में रहते थे,
in Vraja, Lord Krishna used to reside, and he saw
कि वृंदावन में एक
that in Vrindavan
का ऐसा
there are the
जिसे हृद
fires
कहते
of
हैं,
wolves of Yamuna ji,
हृद जहाँ पर न तो कोई जल पी
where
सकता है,
nobody
न
can
कोई जा
drink
सकता है,
water,
जहाँ
nor
जल
anybody enter
प्रदूषित
that.
है,
If the cow
पानी
goes and drink
प्रदूषित
there,
नहीं
it
है।
dies.
अरे
There are
आकाश
no
में
trees
पक्षी भी
surrounded by the
उड़
place.
जाता है,
Even an bird
लेकिन
who
वहाँ पर
flies
कालिया
above
नाग रहता
it,
है।
it drops
तो
dead.
भगवान ने
Why?
सोचा
Because the
कि मैं
Kalia
भी एक
snake
बार
resides there.
नाम ले लें,
So
एक बार
Krishna thought
नाम
that if
स्मरण कर
someone
ले,
remembers me or
तो
chants
जन्म
my name
जन्म
only,
विष से
even
मुक्त
for
हो
once,
जाता है।
then he can be
मैं
relieved of
संसार
the
में रहता हूँ,
poison
पर मेरे
of
ब्रजवासी
repeated birth
कालिया
and
नाग से
death.
परेशान है।
And I'm
मैं
staying
तो इस
in Vraja
खाता
and
हिसाब
people are
खाता
distressed
हिसाब जानते
because of the snake.
हो? आज
So
इसका खाता क्लोज कर
today
दूंगा, आज इसका हिसाब कर
I will
दूंगा।
deal with this.
लेकिन कृष्ण ने सोचा जो भी है,
So Krishna thought that no matter
बलराम जी
what,
अनंत शेष के अवतार है,
Balramji is an incarnation of
और मुझे आज शेष
Sheshanag,
का हिसाब करना है कालिया
and
का। तो
I have
बलराम
to
जी को
deal
कालिया
with
के प्रति सॉफ्ट
Shesh,
कॉर्नर तो होगा।
and he will
कालिया
have
को
a
मारूंगा पीटूंगा तो बलराम जी
soft corner
खोजेंगे
because
कि
they
यार
belong to
तूने
the
मेरी
same
बरादरी वाले को क्यों मारा।
species of
तो क्या
animals.
हुआ,
So
जिस
what
दिन कृष्ण
happened?
को कालिया नाग को मारना था,
The day when
उस
Krishna
दिन
decided
कृष्ण
to kill
बलराम जी को
Kalyanag,
योग निद्रा में सुला दिए
he made
और
Balramji to
साक्षात कह
sleep for
सकता है
eternity. And
कृष्ण
in the
भगवान
morning, all the
भेड़िया चराने चले गए और बलराम जी सोते रह गए।
eternal associates came
और यशोदा
and they
गौ
went
मैया को कहा
to
कि
graze the
आज
cows.
बलराम जी
And
का हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू है,
Ramji
जन्मदिन
kept
है,
on sleeping,
तो उनको
and
बोलिए
he
बोइया
told
मैया
Yashoda Maya that
हम लोग गैया चरा के
it's
आते
his
हैं।
appearance day or birthday.
ऐसा बहाना
So
देकर कृष्ण अकेले ही
you
चले
just
गए।
make arrangements for
लेकिन
there,
बलराम जी
and we will
कूदने
just
नहीं
graze the
देते
cows
थे, या
and come back
बलराम जी
soon.
यमुना में कूदने ही न देते,
Because
वो डर गए
otherwise,
थे।
Balramji wouldn't have allowed Krishna
लेकिन
to
अब
jump
भगवान
in
श्री
the
कृष्ण यमुना
waters
के
of
तट पर
Yamuna ji.
पहुंचे हैं।
But now Krishna has reached the
कृष्ण
banks
यमुना के
of
तट पर खड़े
Yamuna ji, and in a
वैसे बहुत सारे
playful
वृक्ष थे,
manner,
लेकिन विष के प्रभाव से खत्म हो
there
चुके
were
थे।
so many
लेकिन
trees,
वर्णन
but
है
all were
कि
destroyed
जब गरुड़ जी
because of the
स्वर्ग से
poison.
विष को लेकर अपनी
But it
मंडली
is
को
mentioned
धरती पर
that
मुक्त कराना चाहते थे,
when Garuji
गरुड़ के दासी दास
stole the nectar from the heavenly
तो
planets
गरुड़ जी ने
to
विश्वास किया
relieve
था उस
his
दासी को
mother
कि
from
उस कदम
Katru,
के पेड़ पर वो अमृत से
so
भरा रखा था,
on that
इसलिए वो
tree of
अमृत बन
Kadamba,
गया था।
he kept the nectar for a
इसीलिए
while,
बताया
and
जाता है
therefore
कि
that
वृंदावन
tree
में 12
became
वर्ष में एक
eternal
बार
or immortal.
कुंभ मेला
And
लगता है।
that is why,
खैर ये सब
if you
बातें आप सब
remember that
जानते हैं।
every year,
तो
once in
भगवान श्री
12
कृष्ण
years,
उस
Kumbh
कालिया
Mela
के
is
साथ
organized
गए
there
और
as well.
कालिया में कूदे,
So
कालिया रेत में
Krishna
गिरे
stood over
और
Kadamba tree
ऐसा
and jumped
नीचे
into the Yamuna.
बहुत बड़ा कालिया
And when
नाग
he
सो रहा
went
था
deep, a great
और
snake
उसकी
was sleeping,
पत्नी उसके
and
करीब आ
his
रही थी, सेवा
wives
कर रही
were
थी।
serving
और
him
कृष्ण ऐसे
by
वीर से
massaging his
ऐसे
feet.
हाथ जोड़कर ऐसे
And
खड़े थे,
Krishna was
हाथ
there
जोड़कर नहीं,
in an
ऐसे
act of
कि
heroism
उठा तेरे
or a
पति को।
mellow of bravery or braveheart
कालिया नाग की पत्नी कहती
courage.
है कि तू हमारे पति को जानता नहीं है बच्चे,
So they said
कितना सुंदर लड़का
or
है,
responded that
कितना
you
कोमल
don't
बालक है,
know about the valor
लेकिन
of
अपना
our
पति ना
husband,
डाकू है, डाकू।
and you
जा
are such a
तू
beautiful
चला जा
boy.
यहाँ से।
You should just
नरसिंह
run
मेहता
away
जी ने
from here.
तो बहुत
Narsi
सुंदर समझाया
Mahata had beautifully recited this.
है। जड़ कमल छाड़ी जाने बाड़ा स्वामी અમારો જાગશે જાગશે ને મારશે એને બાળ હત્યા લાગશે હે જળ કમળ છાડી જાને બાળા નથી નાગણ હું માર્ગવું નથી મારા વેરીએ વળાવ્યો એ મથુરા નગરીમાં જુગટું એ રમતા નાગનો શીશ હું હારિયો હે जल कमल छाड़ी जाने वाला। मुझे ये सब कथा करनी नहीं है, लेकिन पॉइंट आया इसलिए कह दूं
I
कि
don't want to dwell into deep discussion of this pastime,
के अंतःकरण की प्रेरणा देखिए आप।
but just look into
में क्या बात
the contemplation of Narsi Mehta.
की पत्नी ने
What does he write?
यहाँ क्यों आया है?
He says that the wives asked that, have you lost your way? Why are you here?
कहते हैं कि
And then Krishna responds, I haven't
मैं मथुरा में गया था और
forgotten my mom. And I went to Mathura and I gambled there.
मैं थोड़ा खेल दिया, थोड़ा जुगार खेला, और दाव पर क्या लगा था?
And what did I bet?
दाव पर लगा था,
I put your husband's head on bet.
मथुरा नगरी में जुगटू रमता, जुगार रमता। ये नरसिंह मेहता की चेष्टा प्रेरणा है।
So this is a perspective of Narsi Mehta.
जुआ खेलते हुए मैं
He says that while gambling in Mathurapuri, I lost, and
का मस्तक ला कर देगा,
who loses has to bring the head of
इसलिए तेरे
the Kalyanag, and I have lost it. So therefore, I'm here to get the head of Kalyanag. So please wake your husband up. By seeing the beauty and majesty of the Lord with folded hands, the wives started praying that, oh son, you should leave. You're such a beautiful boy. Our husband doesn't leave anybody alive. He will kill you. Then Krishna responded,
उठा तेरे पति को, मैं भी देख लूंगा आज। ब्रजवासियों को परेशान करता है ऐसे, बहुत कृष्ण बोले।
so Krishna spoke a lot,
फिर भी वो पत्नियों की तो हिम्मत,
but still the wives were
पति को जगाने की,
not
तब कृष्ण
ready to wake the husband. Then Krishna slapped the Kaliya,
तक मुझे किसी ने मारा नहीं, मुझे मारने वाला
that
कौन?
who has came to thrash me. So he saw Krishna in
दूर से रनिंग लेकर आया,
the courage, in the form of a brave heart.
वो सीधा आगे चला गया।
So he came running
फटका मारो ना,
to,
क्रिकेट खेलते हैं तो अनुभव है कि कोई बॉलर
so he came running to attack on Krishna. Krishna just stood a little aside
गया तो इतना कष्ट नहीं होता।
and he banged on the wall. So if you have played cricket, you will know what I am discussing.
यहाँ पर हाथ में कालियों को आंच का आ गया, फिर से वो यूटर्न लेकर आया।
Then he again took a U-turn and started running, chasing Krishna. And again, Krishna just.
कम शब्दों में कहूं,
So, in short, if I want to say, Krishna stood up on the head of the Kaliya,
नरसिंह मेहता ने तो लिखा,
and Narsi Mehta has written, he had thousands of hoods,
अपनी फेणों को ऊपर
and
विष उगल रहा था,
he was
लेकिन वो जिस फेण को ऊपर करता, भगवान श्री कृष्ण
he was
फेण के ऊपर अपना पदार्पण कर देते, अपना चरण जोर से मार देते।
so Kaliya Nag was just pushing out his poison from all his hoods, and Krishna used to put his feet on the hood to mellow it down, and in this manner he was dancing, and all he got tired. Kalina got tired and he became unconscious. And all the demigods came and started venerating, and while dancing on the hoods of Kalyanag, all his poison became ineffective, or he got all the poison out of his body. So it is, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when Krishna danced on the hoods of Kalyanag, so all that poison he got rid of all the poison and he became a gentleman. So we also have this poison of lust, greed, etc. So whatever poison that we have, how are we going to get rid of it? So Krishna and his names are non-different.
कृष्ण में और कृष्ण के नाम में कोई अंतर नहीं है। कृष्ण कालिय नाग के मुख पर नाचे तो सारा विष निकल गया। हम लोग यदि अपने मुख पर कृष्ण के नाम को नचाएंगे तो हृदय का सारा विष निकल जाएगा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हम लोग रोज सुबह बैठकर एक साथ मिलकर
So,
भगवत नाम का
ha-
उच्चारण करते हैं।
we all chant the glories of the holy name, sitting together, and the holy names of the Lord dance on our tongues. Then all the impurities and poison comes out of our body, mind, and soul, as Kalyana got rid of his poison in the same manner. We also get rid of all our impurities, etc. So, Krishna gives an excuse that I became dusky skinned because of the poison of Kalyanang, and now he can say that, so I'm not getting any opportunity to get fair skinned again because all chant my holy names and relieve themselves of the impurities, and I'm not getting any chance to remove my. So according to scriptures, it is mentioned
षड्वर्ग हरणम रिपुनिग्रहणं परम अध्यात्ममूलमेतद्भी विष्णो नामानुकीर्तनम विष्णु नामानुकीर्तनम। शास्त्र में कहा गया,
so according to the scriptures, it is mentioned etat shadvarg haranam, and in the end they say Vishnu Nam Anukirtanam. So the chanting of the holy names of Lord Vishnu, Ram, or Krishna. So this chanting of the holy names or congregational chanting, what are the glories of the same? Etad Shadvarg Harinam. So in our body, all the 6 kinds of poisons. So there are types of poisons. If you want to die, then you will go to a pharmacy that give me some poison. Then he will say how much time you want, whether you want to die gradually in 6 months or you want to die in 1 month, or so they might also have types of potencies. I'm not sure. So the poison that we have, that is Shadvargam. So it has 6 types. So he will ask that there are flavors in poison also. So it is Shadvargam. That is Kama, Krodha, Moh, Lobh. That is greed, lust, anger, envy, pride, etc. So all these are 6 types of poison. But Anukirtanam, that is when we constantly chant the holy names of the Lord, then these 6 types of poison, Harinam, that is he just attracts them and he takes them away from us. And Ripu means enemy, Nigrahana means destroyed, and all our enemies are destroyed. And in our life, we progress in our spiritual life. How? By congregational chanting of the holy names, or by chanting the holy names of the Lord.
महत्वपूर्ण शब्द मेरी दृष्टि
So,
से है
according to my perspective, the important word is Anukirtanam.
तो ठीक है, लेकिन अनुकीर्तन
So,
माने
Kirtanam means
रोज
congregational chanting, but Anu means constant chanting or eternal chanting of the holy names.
हरिनाम जाप करना चाहिए.
So we should chant the holy names of the Lord on a daily basis. Further, it is said,
किम करिष्यति सांख्येन किम योगे नरनायकः मुक्ति मिच्छसि राजेंद्र कुरु गोविंद कीर्तनम. हे राजन,
says, O king, Kim Karishyati Sankhyana. What will
सांख्य से तुम्हें क्या
Sankhya Yoga
सांख्य माने
achieve?
मार्ग.
So, Sankhya means the path of knowledge.
और किम
So, how is it going to benefit you?
और योगा करके आपको क्या मिलेगा.
And if you perform yoga, then what will you attain?
यदि मुक्ति चाहते हो
If you wish for liberation,
गोविंद कीर्तनम
then Kuru Govind Kirtanam.
करो.
Then you should chant the holy names of Lord Govinda,
हो जाएगी.
Krishna, to attain
हरि भक्त तो मुक्ति भी नहीं चाहते
liberation. But even the exalted devotee of the Lord don't even desire
कि हम सेवा
liberation or salvation.
लेकिन यहाँ मुक्ति
They just want to serve the Lord eternally. But here, liberation implies to get
लेकिन अब हमारा प्रश्न
your eternal form. So, if we have a question that we will chant the holy names of the Lord, but why in Amrit Charcha?
ऑनलाइन में एंटर करके
Why
login करके
online we have to log in, and why we chant the holy names together? Why can't we chant alone
के साथ मिलकर साथ में बैठकर क्यों
while sitting with devotees? You know how much data gets used,
जाता है बिल आता है
how much bill we get. So some people can complain, but
इसी अनुपात में एक बहुत सुंदर श्लोक कहा.
in this proportion, one verse is recited or said.
ये बात ये नीति का श्लोक है.
So this is a verse from the philosophical book, that is Niti.
हरिनाम जाप करते ना
So when we chant the holy names of the Lord,
चलता है.
then internally there is a
करते हो कि नहीं
battle that is going on inside us. You might feel, whoever wants to progress, this is for them.
गिनती करनी है उसके लिए नहीं है.
Those who just want to complete their rounds, it's not for them. The people who want to progress, they want to focus their heart and mind on the holy names of the Lord. The mind goes here and there, then they try to bring him back. So they try to concentrate. But what happens? Because of the energy of the Lord, our mind deviates from here to there. And how it deviates, we don't even realize. After 5-10 minutes, we realize that where have we reached?
हरिनाम से निकला बाहर सोफे के ऊपर गया वहां से किचन में गया वहां से ऑफिस में पहुंचा और वहां से कहां
So we have roamed from the kitchen to the living room to the study. And after a long time, we realize you might not be feeling the same. You might all be very focused.
आपको तो आजू बाजू वाले को बुलाना पड़ता होगा वापस कि हवे आ जाओ अब वापस हो जाओ. लेकिन ये मेरे जैसों की बात है.
But I'm talking about people like me, that there is a battle going on.
हमारे मन को हरिनाम में लगाना
We
चाहते हैं
try to focus our mind on the holy names of the Lord, but it deviates and runs here and there. And then we have to forcefully bring it back.
लगा भागा
And again, after 5-10 minutes, it starts running again. So this is the
पहले तो ये कंसीडर कर
constant struggle that goes on
कितने लोग मानते हैं
forever.
ऊपर कीजिए. हरिनाम जप करते समय ये फील होता है
So how many people agree with this?
सब लोग.
So almost everybody agrees.
यदि ये युद्ध है
And if it is a war,
तो युद्ध की एक नीति है
then there is a philosophy or a strategy. And what's that? You can see in this verse.
रिपुणाम यदि युद्ध युद्ध
If
अपने क्षेत्र से बाहर जाकर करोगे
if you fight the battle when you're not in your own country, so desh means your country and adesh means foreign land. So if you're fighting and if you cross your border, then you're definitely going to lose for sure. Therefore, a person has said that even a dog is like a lion in his own street. So this is the time of it is the discussion about the warfare. So this is the technique in a warfare that when you're in your own region, if you fight and if the enemy comes to your area, you will win. But if you go on enemy's territory, then you will lose. So here, therefore, it is mentioned in this verse.
आप दूसरे के स्थान में जाओगे,
if you go to anybody else's territory and that person, even if he is devoid of energy or valor, but as you're not on your position and you're at his position, then he will, even a dog will act like a lion.
हमारे तो ये माया जो है ना वो शेरनी जैसी है, एक तो उसके
So this external potency of the Lord is like a lioness. And if we cross our territory, then how much difficult it will be for us to win. So we should stay in our territory and defeat the external potency of the Lord. So what is our territory? So while fighting, we should bring the enemy to our territory. If you want a certainty that you will win, then you should instigate the enemy to enter your territory. So what is our region? So this devotee association, so this is our area. Although it is little expensive, you have to spend your Wi-Fi data, you have to get ready. So there is some investment, but this is our own territory. And if we fight here, then we can win over Maya or external potency of the Lord.
यदि कोई छोटा शत्रु भी होगा ना,
So even if we are in enemy's territory, then even a smaller person can defeat us. And if you want an example, it is mentioned in the second line.
बोले ग्राहो उत्पिया नदी जले गजेंद्रमपि करशति. मुझे आप बताइए वो ग्राह और
Just let me know that the famous pastime of Srimad Bhagavatam of Gajendra. So, what was the strength of a crocodile in comparison to Gajendra, who was the king of such great territories, and even the great lions used to be scared of him. And a small crocodile, what potency or strength he had? But that Gajendra left his territory and entered the territory of the crocodile. And because he entered the territory of the enemy, therefore all his energy became futile and the strength of the crocodile became manifold. So a crocodile cannot drag an elephant, but when elephant left his territory, then an ordinary crocodile had this capability to drag this elephant. So Maya will take our mind and heart if we leave the devotee association and if we try to chant the holy names of the Lord, as Gajendra was dragged by the crocodile, similarly we will be dragged by Maya. And if we want to win over this battle and we want to focus ourselves
हरि
on the
नाम
holy names of the Lord, then we should chant the holy names of the Lord with devotees. Therefore, let's with love
भगवत नाम संकीर्तन हम सब करें।
perform congregational chanting of the holy names.
राधे में चोर जय गोपी चित चोर प्रभु जय जय माखन चोर जय जय माखन चोर। श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की। उपस्थित भगवत कथा अनुरागी
Hare Krishna. I welcome all the loving devotees of Srimad Bhagavatam, all the attendees, devotees. I also want to extend my warm welcome and gratitude to the willful, loving, senior devotees. I also welcome you all who have gathered through the medium of Govind TV, Facebook, YouTube, etc., from all the parts of the world, all the listeners, and with their mellowful, loving heart, the organizer of this beautiful Katha, His Holiness Kirtanand Swami Maharaj, was the president of Pennsylvania, that is Rajrishi Prabhu and their family. So if we remember their ancestors, then Nandubai Patel, Madhubai Patel, and his wife, Sri Anila Ben Patel, his son Maitre Janaki, Shefali, Asit Bhai, and all the kids of the family. I welcome you all on the fourth day of this Katha. I welcome you all, and please accept our humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Radhe Shyam. Srimad Bhagavat Uddhav Gita, the devotion definitions in devotional service. So Lord Shri Krishna responds to the inquiries of Uddhavji, and their conversation is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavat's 11th canto, and the 11th canto is also addressed as the Mukti Tattva, or the gateway of liberation. So of the 10 elements, one is liberation or salvation. So the first is Sarga, then Visarga, then Sthan, Poshan, Puti, Manvantar, Ishanugraha, Nirodh, Mukti, and Ashray. So this is the Mukti Tattva and Mukti Skandha. So usually liberation is not to merge ourselves in the Lord, or it usually it is thought that we should merge into the Lord. So the people who are on the pathway of self-realization or knowledge, then they dwell for this kind of liberation. But Narsi Mehta writes that the exalted devotees of the Lord, that is the Vaishnavas, don't want or seek liberation, but they want to be born again and again. And similarly, Kapil Dev also tells his mother Devhuti, he says that the devotees of Lord Hari, even if they get liberation, they don't accept it, they reject it completely. So there was a devotee, that is Ganga Sati, she said that the liberation becomes the servant of a devotee of the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, "Oh Shyama Sundar Krishna, even if you put me in the hellish planet, no matter wherever you want to take me, but for life after life, please give me an opportunity to serve you, and I just seek your divine transcendental love." So the liberation that we talk and what is mentioned in the 11th canto, for the devotees of the Lord, the liberation is something different. For people who seek liberation through the path of knowledge, for them liberation is different. But for a practitioner of devotional service, for them the devotion or liberation is something different. So for the scholars on the way of transcendental knowledge, the aim is to merge into the impersonal Brahman. But for a devotee, it is to remember their own eternal form. And as we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord and our eternal form, therefore we are entangled in this material world. And to leave that temporary form and to remember our actual eternal relationship with the Lord and to establish that relationship, that is a liberation for a devotee of the Lord. So our pathway is the pathway of devotional service or unallied devotional service toward the Lord. But others who seek liberation, that is the pathway of the scholars. So what is the difference between devotional service and the path of knowledge? So Goswami Tulsidas ji in Ramayana replies beautifully. He says that the pathway through knowledge is like walking on the edge of a sword. You all can walk, but I'm talking about people like me who are incapable to do so.
उस हिमालय के टोच पर पहुंचने के बराबर है.
So it is like walking on the edge of the swan and reaching the cliff of Himalayas. But how is devotional service in the same 11th canto? Nagni Yogendra writes that the path of devotional service is that even if someone closes his eyes and runs, then still also he will not get hurt, nor he will fall down, and he will reach his destination. So now let me know which pathway is better. If a person who meditates or in trance, then nobody can support him if he sleeps, because people will think that he is in trance. But if someone sleeps while listening to the katha, then if someone sleeps, then they can wake him up. So in other pathways, others cannot support. But in the path of devotional service,
जा सकता है,
we can support each
भक्ति
other.
मार्ग में सपोर्ट किया जा सकता है। जैसे ये भक्ति मार्ग है, मैं कथा
So,
गा रहा हूँ, आप
as
कथा
I'm
सुन रहे
seeking
हैं, आप
the
मेरे
pastimes of the
सत्संग
Lord,
में
you are
सपोर्ट
listening.
कर रहे हैं,
So
मैं
while
जो
listening,
भक्ति
you are
कर रहा हूँ
supporting me,
सपोर्ट
and
कर रहा हूँ।
while I'm
तो भक्ति
speaking, so
मार्ग
I'm
में
supporting you.
एक दूसरे को
So
सपोर्ट दिया
there
जा सकता है,
is a mutual
भक्ति मार्ग में
reciprocation
सपोर्ट
and
की
support
भक्ति
to
नहीं
each
है।
other. But in the pathway of knowledge, there is no such
अब बताइए
reciprocation or support.
कि नहीं?
So now let me know that isn't unalloyed devotional service towards the Lord, that is Bhakti Marg, better?
केवल साधक को ही चलना पड़ता है।
So another
तो
point
ज्ञान
is that
पंथ
in
केवल
the pathway of knowledge, you have to walk alone.
उस हिमालय के शिखर पर
So
पहुंचना है।
you are walking on the edge of a sword and you have to reach the
ये ज्ञान
cliff
मार्ग, इसलिए
of
भक्ति
the
मार्ग
Everest or Himalayas,
इसलिए
and
भक्ति का
we have to
मार्ग
walk
है।
alone. But this path of devotional service or divine love,
को चलना है,
in this,
लेकिन
a
साधक से ज्यादा
practitioner of devotional service,
ज्ञान मार्ग
more
में
than that,
साधक
a
चलते हैं, वो भक्त
practitioner,
नहीं चलता।
the Lord
भक्त तो अपने
walks.
ठिकाने पे
More
खड़ा
than
है,
that.
वो सारी मेहनत साधक को करनी पड़ती है।
So, in the pathway of
भक्ति मार्ग
knowledge,
में प्रेम
all the
मार्ग
hard
में
work is done
साधक
by the
ज्यादा मेहनत करता
practitioner.
है, भगवान
But
ज्यादा मेहनत करते हैं।
in the path of bhakti,
और
the
इसीलिए
Lord
भगवद
works
गीता में
even more, and
गीता में
the
कृष्ण ने
proof
क्या
is
कहा,
in
ये
the
यथा
Bhagavad
माम
Gita.
प्रपद्यन्ते
He says,
तथैव
Yatha mam
भजाम्यहम्। हे
prapadyante.
अर्जुन, मेरा भक्त
O
जितना
Arjuna,
कदम आगे बढ़ाएगा,
the,
मैं भी उनकी ओर उतना
the
कदम आगे
step that a
बढ़ाऊंगा।
devotee takes towards me, I will
आधी
also
मेहनत
walk
हो गई,
the same. So half of the job is
आधी
done,
से भी कम। सो भक्ति मार्ग में
even
बस
less than
लक्ष्य
that.
हमारे पास आता है,
So in
और
Bhakti
अन्य
Marg,
मार्ग
the
में
goal
बिना लक्ष्य के
comes to
काम
us,
करना पड़ता है।
but in other pathways, we have
सीता
to
जी
reach
का
our
नाम
goals.
भक्ति स्वरूप है।
Sita ji is the epitome
और
of
सीता जी को जब रावण
devotional
हरण
service.
करके चला
And
गया,
when she was abducted by Ravana,
सीता जी
then
के पास गए ना,
Lord
मतलब
went
भगवान
to
भक्त
Sita
के पास
ji.
जाते हैं। ये भक्ति
So
का मार्ग क्या है?
the Lord
प्रेम का
goes to the
मार्ग क्या
devotee.
है?
So this is the path of
भगवान
love,
लक्ष्य साधक के पास
that
चलकर आता है।
the goal
जैसे
itself
राम जी
walks
सीता जी के
towards
पास
the
गए,
practitioner of
सीता के
devotional
पास
service.
गए,
As
सीता
Ramji
के
walked
पास
towards
गए।
Sita ji, Ahilya, and
भक्ति मार्ग में
Shabri,
हमारे को ये
respectively.
सुविधा है।
But in other pathways, this
तो
facility
हमारा
is
बहुत
not
बड़ा
available.
सौभाग्य है
So we
कि
are
हम कहीं
extremely
गलत जगह तो
fortunate
नहीं फंसे हैं।
that we are not
नहीं
entangled
तो ये
in some
दुनिया में
wrong
इतने सारे
pathway.
लोग, उसमें से सनातन
In
धर्म
this
में
world, there
बहुत
are so
लोग
many
हैं,
people,
और
and
उसमें भी
of them, there
मेजॉरिटी
is
ध्यान
very
मार्ग में
little
इतनी मेहनत
eternal
करते हैं,
pathway
मेहनत
or
करते हैं,
eternal religion. And in that
लेकिन
also,
सीख नहीं पाते।
some majority of them
इसी
work so
कारण
hard, and we
जबरदस्ती
just do
करते हैं,
little
क्योंकि ये प्रेम
hard
मार्ग है,
work and we get
ये भक्ति मार्ग
ecstasy
है।
and bliss, because
सो
it is the
ऐसे भक्ति
pathway
मार्ग
of
की चर्चा
divine love or
श्रीमद्
Krishna
भागवत
Prema.
के एकादश स्कंद में हुई है। बहुत सुंदर, ये
So
भागवत का
very
एकादश स्कंद
beautifully,
फिलोसॉफिकल
the
ग्रंथ है।
11th
इसको
canto is a
फिलोसॉफी के नाम
philosophical
से अनेक लोगों के द्वारा
scripture, and there's so
उपदेशक
many
हैं भगवान श्री
definition
कृष्ण।
discussions done,
अब
and
प्रसंग
of
कुछ
them
ऐसा
there
है,
is a discussion of Krishna. So the pastime is
आप सब
such,
जानते हैं कि भागवत
as you
गीता
all are
में
aware, that in the
6
root
प्रश्न
of
6 प्रश्न
Bhagavatam,
पूछे थे,
the sages have
उसमें
asked
एक
6
प्रश्न
questions, and
था,
of them the one question
ब्रूहि
was,
परमेश्वरे कृष्णे ब्रह्मण्ये धर्म वर्मणि स्वम काष्ठा अधुनोपेते धर्मः कम शरणं गतः। कृपया करके आप हमें
so as you can see in this verse,
शौनक आदि ऋषि मुनियों ने
Shaunakadi sages asked Suta
कृपया करके ये
Goswami
बताइए
that please
कि
be
जब श्री
merciful and
भगवान
let
श्री
us
कृष्ण
know
इस धरती पर थे,
that by the time Krishna was
धर्म
here
का
on the earth,
पालन,
by the time all the
धर्म का नियम,
principles of
उसका
religiosity,
अपने आचरण
rules
से
and regulation of
कैसे
religion,
थे,
by
कैसे
his
लोगों को
behavior
सिखाते थे,
and
और जो नहीं सीखे
actions he has
ईश्वर से
portrayed.
वक्र चढ़ाकर
So, and
सबको
who
खुद
didn't
स्वयं ने मारा,
learn,
और कुछ को
he
अर्जुन के द्वारा
killed
मारा,
them, or some were killed
कृष्ण ने
by
बैलेंस बना के
Arjuna on his
आगे पीछे
behest.
तक सब कुछ
So by the time he
सही
was
रखा,
there, everything was in
लेकिन
proper
स्वम
order.
काष्ठा
But
अधुनोपेते, कृष्ण जब चले
Swamakashta
जाने के बाद
Adhunopete, that is when Krishna left
ये धर्म किसकी
the
शरण
material
में
world, then whose shelter
जब
did
कृष्ण
the
के चले
religion
जाने
took?
के बाद यदि
So
धर्म को
when
समझना हो
Krishna leaves, then if we have to understand the principles of religiosity,
चल रहा है सब कुछ बराबर है ना कृष्ण के चले जाने के बाद
so when Krishna left,
के तत्व को धर्म के लक्षण को जानना हो
then if we want to understand the elements of religiosity, then what should we do?
सूत जी ने बहुत
Then
सुंदर इसका उत्तर दिया
Sutji
श्रीमद्
responds
भागवत के पहले
beautifully
स्कंद के तीसरे
in the
अध्याय में
first canto, third
बोले
chapter.
कृष्ण स्वधाम उपगते
He
जब
replies
श्री कृष्ण अपने धाम में
in
जा
this
रहे
verse,
थे
he says, Krishna
अर्जुन
Swadhama
आदि भी
Mopagate.
के साथ ज्ञान को सबको लेकर जा रहे थे
So when Krishna was leaving
तो नष्ट
this
दशा
material universe,
पुराण अर्को द्युनोदितः वो चंद्र वंश में जन्म लेने
then
वाले चंद्र का जब
the
अस्त हुआ
Krishna
यहाँ
who
देखते हैं ना
was
चंद्र
born
अस्त
in
होने
the
पर
moon
सूर्य उदय
clan,
होता है
then
तो कृष्ण
while he
चंद्र
was
वंश
leaving,
कृष्ण
the
चंद्र है
moon was
तो
leaving.
चंद्र
After
वंश का
when the
चंद्र
moon leaves, then
उसका
sun
अस्त
shines.
हुआ
So when
भागवत रूपी सूर्य उदय हो गया
Krishna
तो कृष्ण के बाद
left,
नेक्स्ट टू कृष्ण
then next to Krishna, Bhagavatam
कृष्ण का
arose like a
प्रतिनिधित्व करने
sun,
वाला कोई तत्व है
and
तो वो है श्रीमद्
to
भागवत
represent Krishna,
और
the
पद्म
scripture
पुराण
is
के
Srimad
अनुसार
Bhagavatam, and according to Padma
भगवान
Purana,
श्री कृष्ण स्वयं ही
Lord Shri Krishna
भागवत में
himself
कन्वर्ट हो गए
transformed
कब
or incarnated
और
as
उद्धव
Srimad
के सामने
Bhagavatam in front of
जब
Uddhav
उद्धव जी
ji.
को पता चला
When Uddhav
कि
ji
कृष्ण अब जा
realized
रहे हैं
that
तो
Krishna
दोनों
is
हाथ
about to
जोड़कर
leave,
उद्धव
then
जी कृष्ण
with
के चरणों
folded
में गिर
hands,
गए
Uddhav ji
रोते
sits
हुए
at the lotus feet
कहने
of
लगे
Lord
कृष्ण
Krishna and he
आप जा
starts
रहे हो
crying vehemently that you're
पर आप मुझे
leaving
साथ में नहीं लेकर जा रहे
and
हो
you
आप
don't
ये मत
want to
समझिए
want,
बड़ा
you
प्रसंग
don't
है
want me to take
तो पद्म
with
पुराण है
you, you don't want
हमारा वो
me
पॉइंट
to
नहीं है
accompany
लेकिन
you. So it's a great philosophical point,
उद्धव
although we
जी
are
ने
not into
कहा
the
कृष्ण
discussion, but I'm just reminding you all.
जाने के बाद
He says that
कृष्ण ने कहा उद्धव
when
को कि उद्धव
you
जी
will
देखो मैं जा
leave,
रहा हूँ
as Krishna
और
told that
जैसे ही
now
मैं
I am
जाऊंगा
leaving, and as
तो
soon as I
कलयुग
leave,
शुरू हो जाएगा
the Kali Yuga will start.
तब उद्धव कहते हैं कि कृष्ण
Then
आपके चले
Uddhav
जाने के
ji
बाद
said,
और कलयुग के
when
प्रवेश
once you
शुरू हो
leave,
जाने के बाद
and on the entry of
मुझे
Kali
मृत्यु
Yuga,
का डर नहीं है
I'm not
मृत्यु
afraid
हमको सताएगी
that we will be
मृत्यु हमको
troubled by
सताएगी
your external
हमारी चिंता
potency.
नहीं है कृष्ण
I'm not worried
हमारी
about
चिंता
that,
इस बात की है
but I'm
कि
worried
आपके विरह में
that in
मैं
your
कैसे
separation,
जीऊंगा
how will I survive?
आपके विरह में
How will I
मेरी
sustain
भक्ति का
myself?
पोषण कैसे होगा
Who will nourish my unalloyed
क्योंकि
devotional
बचपन से मैं
service
आपके
towards
साथ
you?
रहा
Since my childhood, I have been with you, I have lived
उद्धव जी
my
के
life
विषय में
with you.
वर्णन है
It is mentioned in
कि
regards to
उद्धव जी
Uddhav
जो
ji,
कुछ भी करते
whatever
कृष्ण
Uddhav
को
ji used to
समर्पित
do,
करके ही करते
he always used to
चाहे वो
surrender it to the Lord, whether it is food,
उद्धव को कभी
clothes.
भी बचपन से ही उसका ये संस्कार
Since
था
childhood,
कि
he
कोई भी
had
वस्तु
this
मिलती तो
habit.
पहले कृष्ण को दे देते
Whatever he got, he used to offer it to Krishna first.
रामायण में लिखा है
In Ramayana, it is mentioned
निवेदित भोजन करही प्रभु प्रसाद पट भूषण धरही भगवान को निवेदन करके ही प्रसाद के रूप में किसी
it
को
is said that we should offer everything to the Lord and then we should take it as prasadam. And
कोई भी
that
वस्तु
is what Uddhav ji
और
used to
सर्वप्रथम
do.
उद्धव जी
Whatever he used to get, first and foremost,
वो भगवान श्री
he
कृष्ण को
used
अर्पण
to
करते
offer it to Lord Krishna.
और कृष्ण को
And
अर्पण करने के बाद जो वस्तु
after
बचती वो
offering,
दूसरों को
the
देते
he used to
और फिर
distribute
जो
the remnant that he used to get, and
उसका
whatever was left over, that he
एक
used to keep
सिद्धांत
for
है
himself. So there
कि
are three
जब
philosophical
भी कोई
points here.
वस्तु मिले
Whenever we
तो
get
सबसे
anything in
पहले
this world, then we should
भगवान को अर्पण
have
और समर्पण
surrender and we
करके
should offer it to the Lord. And after that, we should
मंदिर
distribute
में जो ठाकुर जी को भोग चढ़ता है
whatever bhoga is offered to the
पूजा तो
Lord.
भोग पर ही होती है
The eyes of the
प्रभु 5 मिनट वो तो खाना देते
pujari
हैं नहीं
is on the plate.
ऐसा नहीं,
It should not be same. After offering it to the Lord, then we should distribute it freely. We should distribute it to the devotees of the Lord. And whatever is left after that, if we consume that, then it will not be considered as a sin,
ब्रज के सखा क्या करते थे,
or it will not incur a sin. So, what did the eternal associates of Krishna used to do in Braja?
जितने भी सखा थे,
So, all his
उनकी
friends,
माताएं उनको जो भी भोजन
whatever they used to get from their mothers
में होता था,
uh,
वो सारे सखा
during the
डिब्बा खोल
afternoon time, they all used to open their boxes
अर्पण करते थे,
and they used to offer it to Krishna. They used to say that,
नहीं है ये बना,
see, this is what my mother has cooked. Why don't you eat this? So, first they used to offer it to Krishna, and once he has eaten, then they used to distribute to each other. And after that,
में अंत में खुद
whatever the remnants were there, they used to eat that. This is the emotion or natural tendency of a devotee of the Lord.
और फिर जो बच्चा उसे प्रसाद के रूप में ग्रहण करना, और ये आगे के दो स्टेप जो नहीं करते और सीधा अहम
And those who don't do these, follow these two steps, and they just think about feeding themselves, this is a demonic quality, and this will only incur sin.
भगवद गीता में तो कृष्ण ने
In Bhagavad Gita,
तौर पर कह दिया,
Krishna has told,
तू अघम पापा ये पचंती आत्म कारणात, जो मुझे समर्पण किए बिना
he says that whatever is not offered to me and without distributing to the devotees, he eats, then that is not food. He is eating the sin.
भक्तों जीवन का ये
Therefore, O devotees,
अब दो चीज है,
in our life, there are two things.
को अर्पण समर्पण
The one that
भावना के अनुसार
we can offer through gross
है, जो भावना से अर्पण करना होता
manner, and some we can offer with our heart or emotion. So some things are that we can offer practically and others with our mind. So when we prepare a beautiful meal, then we can offer it physically.
है, अच्छा घर बनाया,
And if we have made a great home, then we cannot offer the home to the Lord, but we can have this emotion that this home has been created for you, and I'm just here to guard your home, protect your home. I'm your servant. So, with this intention, if we live our life, then we won't incur any sin, or we will not be tied with our karma. So, this is what we should learn from Uddhavji. First and foremost, we should offer it to the Lord, then we should distribute it to the devotees of the Lord, and then we should take the remnants as prasadam. And if we do this, then we will get three benefits out of it. First, we will not get any bondage of our karma or pious deed,
भोगते हैं तो उसका कर्म बंधन नहीं लगता, वो प्रसाद हो जाता है,
because it is a prasad,
प्रकार का कर्म बंधन
and
नहीं होता।
there is no bondage in prasadam. Second,
को समर्पण और भक्त
when we
करने के बाद
offer it to devotees of the Lord,
करेंगे,
and when we take it as prasadam, then we will not have any
महत्व की भावना,
pride or prestige.
नहीं तो हम लोग
We will not have the tendency to lord it over it.
तीसरा भगवान को समर्पण,
And third,
भक्तों को वितरण
when we have offered it to the Lord and distributed to the devotees, then we will have
भगवान प्रसन्न होंगे, हमारी भक्ति
greater devotional service.
प्रशस्त,
It will nourish our devotional service. It will satisfy the Lord.
उद्धव जी
So, in this manner,
भागवत भक्त हैं,
Uddhavji is a great exalted devotee of the Lord who is sitting on the lotus feet of the Lord,
इसका लाभ पटेल परिवार के सहयोग से
and by the support of Patel family and Raj Rishi Prabhuji's
सब लोग ग्रहण कर रहे हैं।
mercy, we all are receiving this knowledge. So far,
नौवां प्रश्न पूछा था,
Uddhavji Han asked ninth question that what is Shaurya?
श्री कृष्ण
So
उद्धव जी
Lord
को
Krishna
उत्तर देते हुए कहते हैं
responds
दंडनास्य
or replies,
संन्यास परम दानम काम त्याग तपः स्मृतः और स्वभाव विजय शौर्यम। सबसे बड़ी शूरवीरता है उद्धव स्वभाव
he
विजय।
says, the greatest
अपने
courage
स्वभाव के ऊपर विजय
is
प्राप्त कर लेना।
to win over
मन में
our
हमारा
natural
स्वभाव
tendency or
हमारे
behavior.
होना चाहिए।
So
हंसना
we
मलक वक्र,
should
हंसते अमलक,
have
अमलक
full
हंसते।
control on our
जैसे आंवला आपके
behavior,
दांत में होता है,
as
अगर
if you
ऊपर
have
भी नीचे हो जाए आपके हाथ से कोई ले नहीं सकता।
gooseberry in your
તમારો
hand
હાથ કેટલો કડક છે,
and you nobody can snatch it from you.
હાથ में आंवले की तरह हमारा स्वभाव हमारे हाथों में होना चाहिए।
So we should have full
कभी-कभी
control
हम
on
आपे से
our
बोलते
natural
हैं,
tendency or behavior. Sometimes we lose
गुस्से में
our
हम बोल
control,
रहे हैं
and at that time, whatever we are
कि कोई
speaking or
गुस्सा नहीं
whatever we are
करेगा।
doing, we just
सो
lose
स्वभाव के ऊपर
the
विजय प्राप्त
track.
कर लेना चाहिए।
So we should first win
बचपन
over
में
our
अज्ञानता
natural
के कारण
tendency.
बचपन से
Because
कुछ बुरी आदतें
of
थी, वो
ignorance
आदतें
in
इतनी
our
अच्छी हमारे
childhood, we
जीवन में
might
रही
have
हैं कि वो बुरी आदतें
developed some
हमारी
bad
बन
habits
जाती हैं।
and which
क्या मैं
become
आपसे तो
our
कभी सिगरेट
behavior.
नहीं पीता ना?
Because
मैं
nobody
जन्म से
smokes a
कभी
cigarette
शराब नहीं
since
पीता।
birth, nobody gets
बुरी
intoxicated
आदतें
since
मेरी बुरी
childhood.
संगति के
So, in
कारण
ignorance or because of
मैंने
bad
जो कुछ शुरू
association,
किया
gradually
वो
he
स्वभाव
started
बन जाता है।
and it became his
और उसी
intrinsic
स्वभाव को
nature.
जो सुधार लेता है,
And a person
उसका
who modifies
विजय
this
प्राप्त
or
करता है,
transforms
वो
themselves,
सच्चा
win
शूरवीर है,
over this
वो
tendency,
सच्चा
is the
शूरवीर है।
most brave of all,
बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर
or
की हम
bravest of
कहानी
all.
सुनते हैं।
So we
बिल्वा
listen
मंगल
to
का
the pastime of Bilva Mangal
पूरा
Thakur.
पूर्व जीवन तो कुछ ऐसा ही रहा।
So his prior life
भक्ति
was
गंगा में इतने आसक्त
that
हुए
he was so much
कि अपने
attached to
मित्र
a
को ठुकरा
prostitute
दिए।
that he rejected his
चिता
own
लेके जब
wife,
शमशान यात्रा थी
and
तो उस चिता को दाह संस्कार भी नहीं किए,
he didn't even cremated his
बेश्या
own
को पकड़ के
father
चले गए।
and
उसने
went
जो किया
ahead
वो
to
जैसे
meet
कहे तो
this
वैराग्य बन
prostitute.
गया,
And
devotee बन गया।
because she
लेकिन वो जो स्वभाव उसका
scolded
बदल गया,
him, he
भक्त बनने के बाद
got self-realization. Although he became a
जब वो
devotee,
भिक्षा मांगने गए
he was there to
और
get
उसके घर पर गए तो
alms
जिस
from
भिक्षा
someone.
की
And
उसमें वो
when he
खुश
saw
हुआ,
this woman, he got attracted
लेकिन
to
जब वो
this woman.
भक्ति कर रहे थे
But because he was
तो
performing devotional service, therefore he
उन्होंने
had this
सोचा
intelligence and
कि
wisdom,
मैंने मेरे
and he
स्वभाव को
thought that
नहीं जीता,
I have still not
devotee
won
बनने के
over
बाद
my
कृष्ण का
natural
भक्त बनने के
tendency and
बाद
behavior. I'm a devotee of the
मेरी
Lord,
नजर
and
उस
yet
स्त्री में गलत रूप से चली गई।
I am
ये दोष
looking at
मेरे
the
मन
woman
में था।
inappropriately. So this is
मेरी
the
आंखों
problem
से
with
उस
my
स्त्री को
eyes.
देखा,
With my eyes, I
मेरे
have
मन में
seen
कोई
this
विचार
woman,
आया।
and I
बिल्वा
got
मंगल
this
ठाकुर ने कहा, यदि
bad
आपके घर पर सुई है
intent. He
जैसे
said
मेरे
that,
को लगा कि
do you have a
सीना गया
needle?
होगा
So
तो
the
इसको सीना
woman
होगा,
thought that
तो उसने
he
तो सुई
might need a
डाल दी
needle to stitch
और
a
उस
cloth or
सामने
something.
ही बिल्वा मंगल
And
ठाकुर ने अपनी
in
दोनों
front
आंखें
of that woman, Bilva Mangal Thakur
इन
pricked
आंखों
his
से
own
निकाल
eyes
दी।
with the needles.
तो स्वभाव विजय वीर, अपने बुरे स्वभाव के ऊपर जीत प्राप्त
So
करना, विजय
to
प्राप्त
win
करना
over our bad habits is the most courageous
मुझे
of
मुझे
all.
बहुत अच्छा लगता है
I
कि
like this
गुजरात में आपने
pastime
देखा
in
कि एक
Gujarat.
शूरवीर
In Kutch,
जो
there was a
अपने
brave
आप में
heart.
बड़ा पापी था,
Although he was a grave sinner,
लेकिन एक सती साध्वी
but
के
in
कहने
front
पर
of a chaste woman,
अब
he
संतों का तो
got
स्वभाव क्या है,
association with her.
पारस
And a
और
saint
संत
has
दोनों
a
एक समान होते हैं।
nature
तो
like
गोस्वामी
a
जी ने कहा कि
touchstone.
कोई अंतर है
They're the similar.
पारस और संत
So
में
Goswami
भक्त,
ji said there is a difference between the
पारस
touchstone
दोष
and a
मणि
devotee.
भंजन करे, संत करे आप समान। पारस मणि जब लोहे को
A
टच करता
touchstone,
है
when touches
तो वह लोहे
iron,
को सोना बनाता है,
it transforms it
ऐसा पारस
into
नहीं बनाता। लेकिन जब एक
gold,
संत
but not into a
तो
touchstone. But
संत किसी
great
पापी
is
से
a
पापी व्यक्ति
saint
को
or a saint
का
because
एसोसिएशन करता
he,
है,
when
उसको अपना संग
he
देता है,
associates with a grave
तो वह
sinner,
संत उस
then
पापी से
that
पापी व्यक्ति को
sage
भी अपने जैसा
transforms
संत बना
that
देता है।
great sinner
ऐसा ही हुआ
into a
कि
sage
कच्छ
or a
में
saint.
धरती को छिन्न
So
भिन्न करने
this is
वाला
what happened in Kutch,
अपने
where
काम से
a person
लोगों को ध्रुजाने
who
वाला, कंपाने वाला।
used to threaten people, and people used to shiver
अरविंद भाई
in fright because of just hearing his name.
याद आवे, कच्छનો કાળો નાગ એટલે જેસલ જાડેજો। हाँ?
His name was Jaisal Jadeja.
से होती है कच्छ का काला नाग। हाँ? और फिर एक दिन तोरल के साथ
And one day he was associating with Thoralji, and he was unable to swim, and the boat was sinking. And when he saw death in front of his eyes, he told this chaste woman that, please protect me from sinking. So she said that you have so incurred so many sins. So whatever you have, the sins you have incurred, please reveal it to me. So this Jaisal started revealing all his sins in front of this chaste, pious women.
पाप तारू प्रकाश जाडेजा, हे धर्म तारू संभाळ रे, तारी बेडली ने बुडवा नहीं दऊं, हे तारी नावडी ने डूबवा नहीं दऊं, जाडेजा रे। एम तोरल के छे जी, ओ जी रे एम तोरल के छे जी। अब ये अपना पाप बोलने लगा। तोड़ी सरोवर पाळ सती राणी, तोड़ी सरोवर पाळ रे, वन नाते मोरला मारिया, मैं तो वन नाते मोरला मारिया, तोड़ा दे रे एम जेसल के छे। बहुत अपने जीवन में जितने भी पाप किया था, सारे पापों का
So
इजहार
whatever sins he has incurred throughout his life, he started revealing them.
के सामने,
And when
संत के सामने,
someone reveals their shortcomings, failure in front of a spiritual master or a saint,
फिर हुई,
then
किनारे पर पहुंच गई,
the boat
ये
became stable and they crossed this ocean, and the grave sinner,
परिवर्तन हो गया,
his heart was transformed,
का शिष्य बन गया।
and he became the disciple of this chaste woman, plural.
के बाद
And after becoming
जी की सेवा,
her disciple, he started serving
गुरु
her.
जी परीक्षा लेते हैं ना,
And
एक दिन
a spiritual master also tells. So one day,
जैसल को कहा,
the Earl told Jaisal,
ये लो मेरी साड़ी,
take this sari
पर जाओ
and go
और ये धोकर आओ।
and wash it.
और ये शूरवीर जीवन
And he was a braveheart who has just stolen or robbed others. Who people used to tremble because of him. And he took this sari and he is going to wash her clothes. And when he was going back on the way, some people met him. It's such a person who was such a brave heart, and being he is going to wash the clothes of a woman, and in his heart he thinks, what am I supposed to do that I am transformed? Had you met me 10 days before, then you would have realized that who is Sumer and who is what. So for 1 second he had this thought, what shall I do? I am a devotee now. But had I met you 10 days previously, then he would have realized. So he went
धोबी घाट पर और ये
to
बहुत
wash the clothes.
खुन्नस खा गया
So
था, लेकिन
as he was agitated by all their
देखो
words,
नम्रता
so
कितनी है, be
he
humble,
was ordered that you should have humility.
क्रोध
So
नहीं करना है,
you should not get angry.
गुस्सा नहीं करना है,
You should not be
शांत
upset.
था।
So he
बाहर
was
से तो
at
बोल नहीं
peace.
पाया, लेकिन
So
सारी
outwardly he
नम्रता
couldn't
के
speak,
ऊपर
but
उस
he
धोबी घाट पर जाकर इतना धोया,
put all his frustration on the cloth. He washed the clothes in such manner that he removed all the impurities
सफेद साड़ी कर दिया
and he transformed the dress.
और साड़ी धोकर वापस गुरुजी के पास आया।
And after that he came back,
सती साध्वी
and Toral
गुरुजी के चरणों में साड़ी रखकर कहता है कि देखो माते,
and said that, "Oh mother, have I washed it properly?"
तोरल ने साड़ी खोलकर कहा
Then
कि एक
Toral
सा दाग
opened
रह गया है,
and said that there is still some stain here.
दाग रह गया है। बोले कहाँ दाग है?
So he said, "Where is it?
मार के धोया,
I have washed it with so much energy. I have thrashed it. There cannot be any
जेसल जेसल
stain." So she says that, "Oh, Jessel, there is still a small stain here." So what is it?
साड़ी के दाग की बात नहीं कर रहे,
I'm not talking about the stain on my cloth, but in your heart, while you were going
मार्ग में कुछ लोग तेरी
and
निंदा कर रहे
some people criticized you,
प्रकट रूप से तो एक्शन नहीं लिया,
although you didn't acted upon it, but for a while you had a thought in your heart. That is the stain that I am talking about. So you should perform more devotional service and you should remove that stain,
विजयः वीरः,
because
अपने स्वभाव के ऊपर
a
विजय
person
प्राप्त
who
कर ले,
wins over his natural tendency is a brave heart.
तो स्वभाव के ऊपर विजय प्राप्त करे। और उद्धव जी ने फिर पूछा,
Then Uddhavji asks,
तो 10वां प्रश्न है,
the 10th question is, what is truth
तो
or what is truthfulness? And Krishna responds,
समदर्शनम,
Satyam cha samdarshanam.
क्या है?
In this world, what is truth? That is samdarshanam, that is
रूप में देखना,
to see everyone as equal or to have the quality of equanimity is truthfulness.
भेदभाव करते हैं ना,
So if we differentiate
ये वास्तव में सबसे
between people, this is the greatest lie of all. So in this world, the truth is
सत्यम च, सत्यम माने सच्चाई,
Satyam cha, what is the truth? Samdarshanam.
सच्चाई की डेफिनेशन क्या है?
So this is the definition of truth, that is samdarshanam, that is to have a equanimous behavior towards everyone. So how are we going to attain this equanimity? So we are supposed to bring this equanimity, but how are we going to achieve it? So first and foremost, we have to understand that in everyone's heart the Lord resides.
भगवान को सेंटर में रखे बिना समदृष्टि आ ही नहीं
Without
सकती।
keeping the Lord at the center, we cannot
नहीं करते,
bring equanimity to our lives. Some people don't believe or
सम बनो, समान बनो,
or perform devotional service with the Lord. And there are some who shout that we should be equanimity, but it is not possible till the point we have faith in the Lord.
जाने के लिए
So
पहले
to bring
पर विश्वास रखना
this
होगा,
quality of equanimity, we should have
समझना होगा
faith in the Lord, and then we need to understand that that Lord
हृदय में है।
resides in everyone's heart, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita.
ब्राह्मणे गवि हस्तिनी शुनि चेन श्व का पाके पंडिता समदर्शिना, चाहे विद्याधारी कोई आदमी हो, चाहे
Whether he's a scholar or a brahmana or a shudra,
या बिल्ली,
elephant or even a cat,
हृदय में परमात्मा बैठा है।
everyone has the Lord residing in their hearts.
उस परमात्मा को नहीं देखेंगे,
And till the point we are unable to see them, we won't be equanimous towards everyone. Why do we differentiate between people? Because
परमात्मा में विश्वास नहीं है,
we don't have
की भक्ति नहीं।
faith. We lack faith towards the Lord. We don't have devotional service towards the Lord.
दुनिया के लोग ये तो चाहते हैं
So the people of the world require or desire that this terrorism should stop, and the countries should stop fighting amongst each other or among themselves. And they make so many meetings, but they're unable to understand the fundamental principle. If we have faith in the Lord and that Lord resides in everyone's heart, and if the Lord resides in everyone's heart, that means that everyone is equal. Or when we see Krishna in everyone, then how can we abuse or how can we terrorize others? It will be curbed completely.
किसको पत्थर मारूं, मैं किस पर बम फोड़ूं, यहाँ किसको पत्थर मारे के कौन पराया है, यहाँ किसको पत्थर मारे के कौन पराया है, क्योंकि शीश महल में हर एक चेहरा अपना लगता है, शीश महल में हर एक चेहरा अपना लगता है। आप किसी कांच घर में खड़े हो,
So if you're standing in a glass house and there are 10, 12 mirrors, and on these all mirrors you see your reflection, so how are you going to attack with a stone? Because you will see yourself in that mirror. So the intention here is that the Lord that resides in our heart, that He resides in everyone's heart. So how can we abuse others? Because we can see Krishna in everyone. So this is the actual truth. That is what Krishna is teaching us. That what is the truth? That is to have the perspective of equanimity towards everyone. But it won't be possible in our lives until and unless we progress in devotional service. So in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, we are at the stage of Kanishta. After that we will become Madhyama. And when we become the top class or Uttama Adhikari, then only we will reach this stage or equanimity. And how are they?
भावम आत्मनः भूतानि भगवती आत्मन येष भागवतोत्तमः। टॉप क्लास के डिवोटी कैसे होते हैं?
So what is the stage of the topmost devotee or Uttama Adhikari? It is said, Sarvabhuteshu, that is in all the living entities like animals, humans, and birds, etc., they see the Lord in each and every one. And when we understand this, not just by speaking or speaking, but if we imbibe this in our life, that in everyone's heart the Lord resides. So we keep on saying this, but how much have we imbibed this in our life? We all say that Lord Siya Ram is in throughout the whole world. Then why are we abusing them? Why do we cheat them? Why do we distress them? Because they also have Siya Ram sitting in their heart. We speak and recite, but we don't imbibe it in our life. This is what we should follow in our life. If someone abuses us, whatever distress we get, similar distress is faced by others. So we should have this emotion, and that is the truth. So in this manner,
भूतानी भगवती आत्मनि, इस प्रकार से भावना करना, येष भागवत उत्तम, वो सबसे ऊंचा भक्त है।
he is the topmost devotee.
सबसे ऊंचा भक्त होता है ना, टॉप क्लास का डिवोटी, उसको शिंगड़ा नहीं होता।
He doesn't have horns on his head.
हाँ, ये भक्त को सींग उग गए हैं ना, ये इसकी चोटी बहुत लंबी है ना, ये टॉप क्लास का डिवोटी नहीं। सबसे बड़े टॉप क्लास का डिवोटी कौन है?
So the topmost devotee is the one who sees the Lord in everyone's heart.
अब सबके हृदय में जो परमात्मा देख लिया, तो
So
निंदा करने का प्रश्न ही नहीं है।
if a person sees the Lord in everyone's heart, then
प्रश्न नहीं है,
there won't be any question of
परमात्मा को देख रहा है। वो तो मुर्गे में भी परमात्मा को
creating
देख रहा है।
violence or
वो तो
to
कुछ गलत
be
नहीं
envious
है।
of others. So he will not do anything wrong if he has imbibed this quality in his life.
ये भावना होनी चाहिए।
So
और
this
ये
is what
भावना
we
रोज
should have,
साधना करेंगे।
and this will happen only when we perform another devotional service towards the
और ये
Lord.
भावना हम तो अभी अभ्यास कर रहे हैं,
So we are
और
just
हमने हमारे
practicing,
प्रभु जी के जीवन में
but
देखा है।
we have seen this in quality in the life of our Guru Maharaj.
हमने तो देखा है कि कहीं भी जाते हैं तो उनको सब
Wherever he goes,
ये सृष्टि
he
उनको भगवत में ही दिखाई देती।
he sees Krishna
जब उनको
everywhere.
paralysis हुआ,
When he got
मैं तो बहुत बार
paralysis,
कराया हूँ,
so
इसलिए मुझे आइडिया
when he was supposed to
छोटा सा
get the MRI done,
गोलाई होती है,
so there is a small capsule in which they fit us, and we need not, we cannot just,
परेशान और उसमें कट 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 बहुत, अब
and
थोड़ी सी
there's so much sound.
मशीनरी हो गई, लेकिन शुरू के दिनों में तो बहुत
So initially, it used to have so much sound,
होता था,
and we used to feel claustrophobic.
मुंजा आदमी मुंजा ही जाता था उसमें, वो बेल्ट बांध के वो सुला देते
So
थे,
they just tie with a belt and
और फिर
make you sleep.
बाद वहां से निकालते थे।
And after a few minutes, they will
MRI मशीन में डाला और
put
बाहर
us out.
निकाले तो
So when Guru Maharaj was put into the MRI
बाहर आया हूँ। देखो
machine, he said that today I have came out from the belly of Aghasur.
ये तो कहते हैं मेरा
When this evening comes, he says that my Shyam is here. When he opens Bhagavatam,
ये राधा रानी
he thinks that the white pages are Srimati Radharani, and all these black alphabets are Krishna himself.
हमारे घर पर आए थे,
So when he came to our home,
हमारा घर 7वीं मंजिल पर है मुंबई में,
my home is on the 7th floor in Mumbai,
में बैठे चढ़े
and we
तो मैंने ग्राउंड
just
फ्लोर दबाया, लेकिन किसी ने पहले से ही
sit
दबा
on the lift, and so we pressed on the ground floor, but somebody has pressed before, so the lift started moving upwards. I said, I pressed ground, but still it started moving upwards. And what did he say? That we are moving forward, we are not falling down. So in small things, he used to see the Lord, that we are progressing.
ऐसी बहुत सारी बातें हैं, ये हमने
So there's so many things that we have felt and seen in the life of exalted stalwart devotees of the Lord, that in everything they see the Lord.
भगवान दिख गए तो परेशानी की बात
And when the Lord,
थी तो हम टेंशन में थे, चिंता
you
में
see, that we were distressed and anxious, what will happen? But he's looking Krishna in that, so he was not distressed or anxious. But this is the truth. This is what Krishna wants to convey. That what is the truth? Samdarshinam. That is to have the feeling of equanimity. And when will we achieve that? When we see the Lord in everyone's heart. So in this manner, in 4 verses, 10 questions have been responded. So next, let's move to the next verse. Krishna responds to Uddhavji.
सुंदरिता वाणी कवि भी परिकीर्तिता कर्म स्वसंगमः शोचम कर्म स्वसंगमः शोचम त्याग संन्यास उच्यते त्याग संन्यास उच्यते। रीतम च सुनृता वाणी। इसके पिछले माने के 10वां प्रश्न 10वीं
So
जिज्ञासा
the 10th question was, what is truthfulness? So there is a little variation in this question. So the 10th question was, what is the truth? So the 11th is, what is the truth? So they are almost similar, but there is a little variation. So to have the quality of equanimity towards everyone is the truth. So what is pleasant truth? So we wouldn't have been thought. So to live our life, especially when dealing with devotees, I always utilize it. It helps me a lot. So truth is Sunritavani. That is a pleasant speech is truth, and everything else is false. So the more pleasant is your speech, that is considered to be truthful. Everything else is a lie.
इसलिए धर्म न दूसर सत्य समाना, सत्य की समान दूसरा और कोई धर्म
So
नहीं।
there is nothing beyond truthfulness. It is the fundamental of principles of religiosity. So what does Krishna replies? Sunritavani, that is pleasant voice, or something that is pleasant to hear. That is the ultimate truth. So this is what Krishna says, that our speech should be pleasant. While we talk, if we attract someone, that is called Shruniti, that is pleasant speech. When we praise someone, then people say that when this person speaks, then his language is sugar coated as if the flowers are flowing. This is what Krishna is teaching us. No matter how much truthful you are, but if it's bitter, nobody wants to remember that. Nobody pays any heed to it. But if you speak pleasantly, then that will be considered as sweet and pleasing to the ears and is far more acceptable. So whenever the speech is sweet, there the friendship nourish, and you will have more friends. And if you have a hard voice, then you will have more enemies. But I'm just conveying the message of Krishna. You can decide for yourself. So with the pleasant voice, you will have more friends. But if you are more stern in your speech, then you will have more enemies. So relationship between humans doesn't depend on reciprocation of things, but more on the reciprocation of the words. Do you understand? The relationship between humans does not depend on the reciprocation of things, but rather on the reciprocation of the words. So you all sit here in great numbers. So we don't have any relationship with you on a bodily platform. You will have your near and dear ones who live or reside with you, and you don't even give them 2 minutes, but you give me three hours on a daily basis. What is the reason behind it? That is speech. And if I start scolding everyone, so from tomorrow there won't be anyone in this on the screen. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that my voice is pleasant, but I'm just saying that this, or stressing upon this point, that amongst human,
संबंध का जो आधार है
the basis of a relationship is not on the exchange of gifts, but on exchange of
अब
words.
देखो आप उनके साथ
So
रहना बहुत पसंद करोगे
you
जो
prefer
आपको
to
सुनता है
stay with people who listen
और
to
आप
you
उनके साथ रहना बहुत पसंद करोगे जो मीठा बोलता है
and who speak
यहाँ वही तो हो
softly.
रहा है
And that is what
मैं
is
आपके साथ
being
रहना
done here.
पसंद करता हूँ क्योंकि आप
I
सुनते
prefer
हो
to stay because you listen,
और आप मेरे साथ रहना पसंद
and
करते
you
हो मैं
prefer to stay
प्रयास
with me
करता हूँ
because
प्यारियों की
I
वाणी
try
मधुर वाणी है
to
मधुर
present the pleasant
वाक्य या
voice and pastimes of the Lord and our scholars, acharyas,
आपने
etc.
आपने मार्क किया होगा और आप देखिए
You might have noticed,
घर पर आए हुए व्यक्ति का स्वागत
if someone comes to our home,
मीठी वाणी से
if we
करते हैं
welcome
चाहे
them
आप
with
उसको जितना
pleasant
भी मत
words,
दो
even if you don't offer him
आप अच्छे से
much,
कुछ भोजन न बनाओ कुछ
even
न
if you
करो
don't cook
गद्दे पे
properly,
बिठा कर सोफे पर बिठा कर लेकिन शब्द अच्छे वाणी
but
यदि
if you
आपने अच्छी
just
है
use
तो वो
proper
प्रसन्न होकर
words,
जाएगा
then also he will
और
be
आपने अपने
satisfied.
घर पर 56 भोग
But
बनाए
even if you have prepared
और न
all
जाने
types
कितनी
of
आपने
dishes
उसके लिए मेहनत की है
and you have worked so hard for
और वो
him,
मित्र आपके घर पर आया है
and when that friend
आपने मेहनत
arrives,
की बहुत कुछ
you have
उनको
worked
दिया
so
लेकिन
hard,
वाणी यदि
offered
अच्छी
so
नहीं
much,
है तो
but if your speech is not appropriate, your all hard work
आपने
will
सब
be
कुछ भोग
futile.
लगाया है और वो आप कहोगे भोजन कर लो
You will tell that, please
अगर वो
have
कहेगा
food.
नहीं नहीं करना है
And he said,
अरे
no, no,
करोगे
I don't
नहीं तो
want
हमको गटर
any.
में फेंकना पड़ेगा गटर में फेंकना है
If
तो
you say
अच्छा है
that
कि तुम
if you
अच्छे
don't
से
eat, then I will have to put it in the drain. It's
भोजन
better
अच्छा
that
नहीं
you
तो
eat.
हमको कुत्ते को खिलाना पड़ेगा
Otherwise, I'll
तो
have to
कुत्ता
feed
खाए
to
उससे तो
a
अच्छा है ना कि आप ही
dog.
खा लो
Whether a
ऐसे
dog is better than you
56
eat it.
भोग भी यदि ऐसा बोल के खिलाएगा तो
So if
कहोगे
someone offers
मैं
you
राजी नहीं
56
होगा
types of meal,
इतना खुश
you
नहीं होगा
won't be satisfied with this
वाणी से
speech.
कोई प्रसन्न होता है
On other hand,
खुश होता है
a person can be pleased
मनुष्य
by sweet words,
कटु कठोर
comforting words.
वचन
So the
सुनते
harsh
ही
language or hard words
अत्यधिक अनिष्टकारी सिद्ध हो जाते हैं
sometimes become detrimental
बहुत
in a relationship,
बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम खड़ा कर देते हैं
and they create
कठोर वचन
so many
नहीं तो विचार कीजिए
problems. So just imagine
द्रौपदी के कड़वे
that
वचन
Draupadi's harsh
दुर्योधन के
words
हृदय में बाण की तरह छू गए
pricked the
धनुष
heart
का
of
पुत्र अंधा
Duryodhana when she
और
said that
बहुत बड़ा
a
महापाप
blind
कर गया
son is a blind.
कभी कभी हमारे कठोर वचन
So sometimes our harsh
तलवार
words
से भी अधिक
are
तलवार
even piercing
से
than
यदि
the
किसी को मारना
point
है ना
than
काटा
the
जाए
sword.
तो वो
So
ठीक
if
हो
we
जाता है
cut a person with a
लेकिन
sword,
वाणी से
then
यदि
he
किसी को
might get
मारा
healed.
जाए
But when we
तो
attack
फिर
with our
जीवन भर
speech,
जन्म
then
जन्म तक
throughout
याद
our
रहता
life
है
we remember it.
और इसलिए हमारे कबीर बाबा ने
Therefore,
कबीर दास जी
Kabir
ने
Baba
कहा
has said,
ऐसी वाणी बोलिए कि मन आपा न खोई औरन को शीतल करे आपन हूं शीतल होई ऐसी वाणी बोलिए कि अपना मन सब कुछ कंट्रोल में हो
so we
जो
should speak in this manner that
और अपने
our mind should be controlled and it should
एक बात
be
समझ
pleasing to others and it
अगर
should satisfy
व्यक्ति
us
का
as well.
स्वभाव
So everyone's
किसी भी व्यक्ति
natural
को
tendency or
पहचानने का
behavior
इमीडिएट पहचान
is,
किसी भी
if you
आदमी
want
का
to immediately identify someone,
इंट्रोडक्शन
the
उसकी
first
वाणी से
introduction
होता है
is by their
बाद में
speech.
उसका बैकग्राउंड ये वो तो बाद में समझ में आता है
Rest,
उसकी
the
वाणी
background,
से समझ में आ
etc.,
जाता है इसकी खानदानी क्या है
are
इसका घराना कितना बड़ा है
looked after
उससे
later
पता
on.
चलता है
But
इनके
what
संबंध
type of
अच्छे हैं
family they belong, it
पता
all
चलता
is
है कि
revealed
ये किस
by the
महाराज
way
जी
they
का बेटा
speak
है ये किस गुरु का चेला है
and who is his spiritual master.
दूसरे शब्दों में मैं आपको
So,
कहूं
in other words, if I
आपकी
say
वाणी
your
घर
speech
का परिचय देती है
introduces
તમે
your
સાંભળ્યું
family
ये તમારું પરિચય આપે છે किस गुरु के चेले हैं ये
and
हमारी वाणी
who is our spiritual master
देती है
in,
हमारे माँ बाप हमारे
is
संस्कार
introduced by our speech.
इसलिए हमें
Our behavior reveals
तुरंत
our
तोल तोल के
upbringing.
बोलना चाहिए
So we should think before we speak. We
व्यक्ति
should
यदि
calculate. before we speak. So if someone is a great orator or speaks nicely or sweetly,
पूरा समाज
then the whole society respects him.
कितना भी क्रोधी आदमी आप
No
एक
matter how
शब्द
much
मधुर बोलोगे,
a person is angry, but if someone
बाकियों के
speaks
सामने
sweet,
कितना भी मधुर बोलो,
then
वो
if
बेइज्जत
they have a
होने वाले
heart,
रहते
they
हैं।
will be affected.
ये जो मूर्ख लोग हैं,
So
आपकी
the
मीठाई
foolish person
को आपकी कमजोरी मानते
might
हैं।
think that your
अरे ऐसे
sweetness
मूर्खों से
is
तो हमारे को
your
लेना देना ही नहीं है ना। वो मूर्ख
weakness.
हमारी
We should not bother
कमजोरी
about
को
such
अपनी
fools.
कमजोरी समझे, तो वो मूर्ख है, वो उस कैटेगरी वाले को हमें कुछ सिद्ध करना भी नहीं है।
And we need not to
लेकिन
prove
फिर
anything
हम
to such people.
जिसका
But
कलेजा है,
if
जरा भी
if
संस्कार
someone
है,
has some
उनकी मीठी वाणी को
culture
सुनकर
or is
उनका
civilized,
क्रोध,
then
उनकी
he will be
गलती,
pacified
उनकी
even if he's angry by he will be pacified by your sweet words.
हमें अपनी भाषा को
Therefore,
मधुर रखना चाहिए।
we should
ऐसा
always keep our voice
हमारी
sweet.
वाणी जो है ना, सामने वाले को
Moreover,
एक्टिवेट
our
करती है,
speech
सामने वाले को रजोगुण में
motivates the
लाना,
others.
तमोगुण में लाना,
Whether
सत्वगुण में लाना,
we
हमारी
want the
वाणी
other
के ऊपर है।
person to be in
कोई बंदा
the
आपके
mode of
सामने
goodness, passion, or
है, तो आप
ignorance,
ऐसे
it
चिल्लाकर शुरू
all
कर दो, तेरे अंदर ये
depends
ध्यान
on the
नहीं
way
है,
we
तेरे
behave
अंदर ये ज्ञान है, ये है,
or
वो है,
speak.
तू कुछ काम का नहीं है। मतलब
If
आपने
we
उसके
start
ईगो की
abusing,
चाप दबा दी।
then you have
जितना
pressed
ऊंचा
on
बोलोगे ना,
his mode
उससे
of
डबल
way.
ऊंचा वहां से
So
आएगा।
when you're speaking loudly, he will also respond
क्या
loudly.
प्रेम से बोलते हो आप,
But if you speak
बहुत अच्छे हो,
with
आप
love,
आए, मुझे बहुत
that it's
आनंद
great
आया,
that
बहुत
you
सुख
came.
मिला।
We
तो
are
ये
happy
रजोगुण
that you.
तमोगुण में भी होगा ना, तो
So
वो भी
even if he
सदगुण
is
में
in the
बदल
mode of
जाएगा।
passion or ignorance, he
सामने
will
वाले को, वो तो हमने प्रैक्टिकल देखा है,
transform
आपने
into
कभी
mode
अपने
of
घर में
goodness. I've seen
किसी को
in
कहा ना, अरे
practically.
आप आए, बहुत अच्छा लगा, आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, आप 5 मिनट ऐसे बोलोगे ना, तो पूरा
When you
घर
speak
ऐसे
5 minutes
सब लोग
slowly, then everybody will start speaking slowly.
और आपने उपाड़ा शुरू किया,
And if you
आ जाओ,
start
यहाँ
shouting,
बैठो, ये करो, वो करो, तो बाकी के सब लोग भी उसी
then
माहौल में ढल जाएंगे।
everybody will get affected.
डिपेंड करता
So
है,
this all depends on
आप
us.
पहल कीजिए एक बार, सब कुछ
If you
अपने
start,
वातावरण बंध जाता है,
the
कंट्रोल हो
whole
जाता है उस वाणी के द्वारा।
environment get transformed just by our
उस वाणी
speech.
कुछ लोग कहेंगे वाणी कैसे
Some people might
पंडित ने
say,
नीति सिखाई,
so
दुनिया वालों
Chanakya
को
Pandit has
दुनियादारी कैसे
taught
करनी
us
है।
philosophy that how we
वाणी
should
के
behave
बारे में
in
मैंने
this
बहुत सुना,
society.
लेकिन एक प्रसिद्ध
So he has
श्लोक
spoken so
अगर मैं
much,
कहूँ,
but let me share
चाणक्य
a
पंडित ने कहा,
famous verse from him or
सत्यं
his book.
ब्रूयात् प्रियं ब्रूयात्, न ब्रूयात् सत्यम प्रियं, प्रियं च नानृतं ब्रूयात्, येष धर्म सनातनः। चाणक्य चौथी लाइन में सनातन धर्म की बात कर रहा हूं।
So
पंडित कहते हैं,
Chanakya Pandit says,
धर्म
I'm talking about Sanatan Dharma or eternal religion.
सनातन धर्म क्या है?
So what is it?
सत्य
Satyam Bruyat. That is, we should
लेकिन
speak the
वो
truth.
तुम्हारा सत्य
But that truth
प्रिय
should
होना चाहिए।
be
हमारा
pleasant.
क्या ना, गलती करेंगे ना तो मीठा
So
मीठा बोलेंगे।
when we are at fault, we
लेकिन श्लोक
speak
यदि आ गया,
softly.
थोड़ा सा
But
हमने
when
सीखा
we
वहां से, सीख लिया
learn
कुछ अच्छी बात है,
a
तो
few verses
आठवीं कड़ी से शुरू
and
करेंगे।
then we
अरे
start
सीतारामा,
with the eighth meter.
नीलेश भाई याद आवे, हमारा टेनेसी वाला प्योर सोल है, पवित्र आदमी है,
So I
लेकिन
just remember
सत्य का
Nilesh Prabhu from Tennessee.
प्रस्तुतिकरण भी कैसे
So
करना
how
है,
we should present the
ये
truth
भी सीखने की
is
बात है।
also something
सत्यम
that we
ब्रूयात्,
should learn.
सत्य बोलो,
We should speak the
लेकिन
truth,
प्रियम ब्रूयात्,
but it
प्रिय
should be
बोलो,
pleasant as well.
न ब्रूयात् सत्यम प्रियम, सत्य किंतु अप्रिय कभी नहीं बोलना चाहिए। सत्य बोल रहे हो ना, बोलो,
If we are speaking the truth, we should speak the truth, but it should be pleasant
प्रिय होना चाहिए, मीठा होना चाहिए।
or sweet.
कुछ लोग कहते हैं ना, मैं थोड़ी झूठा बोलता हूँ,
Sometimes people say that I'm not lying, I'm not wrong.
कोई बात नहीं,
You're not wrong, no matter.
पंडित दूसरी लाइन में कहते हैं,
So Chanakya Pandit says in the second line,
बोलो
You should speak the truth, but that truth should be pleasant as well. And if you don't have that sweet voice, then you should keep it on a whole, and we should learn first. Is that even if you're truthful or you have knowledge, but you should remain silent, because if it's not pleasant, then we should remain mute. So we're not talking about liars, but even the truth should be something that is pleasant to others. And it Chanakya Pandit says in the third line that even if it's sweet, then we should not speak the lie. So even if it's a lie or is pleasant to ears, we should not speak that. So we should always speak the truth, but it should be the truth that is pleasant to ears as well. But we should not lie at the same time as well. And this is for this is for others. So Niti is for whom? This is for society at large, and not for our family members. So those who we consider as ours, who are our and beloved, no matter whoever we consider as ours, we don't use philosophy, but our present. If you say that I will just speak what is pleasant to my kids, then your children will be spoiled. So how and where we should use the philosophy, that also we should learn. So Chanakya Pandit has told this philosophy, this is for society, that in a society or in this world we should speak truth, but it should be pleasant as well. But if your son is committing a mistake, then you once after twice you have to scold him, otherwise people will say that you've spoiled your son. So there might be a question. So the point here is that this philosophy is for people or society, but for people who are the there we have to follow riti, and that is something different. We will speak on this some other time. So in essence, Lord Shri Krishna says that our speech should be sweet, and that is the truth. Then the 12th question that Uddhavji asked was, what is the so what is the most purification? So just washing ourselves outwardly, is that a way to purify ourselves? So Lord replied beautifully that the purification is karma swa sangam shocham. In the second line, he responds, karma swa sangam shocham. So what is the purity? That is not to get attached to our work is the greatest purity of all. So we should be unattached with all the work that we do, and that is the greatest purity of all. I experience this a lot. I'm talking about the material world. When we perform a anything for material world, then are we doing it for as we are attached? Then it is a sin. Or if we are doing it as our responsibility, and but we are detached at the same time, then that is the principle of religiosity. So we should always remember this is a very sensitive point, and we need to understand we all are devotees. So we should understand the definition of purity. What is the greatest purity? The greatest purity is to do all the work being detached from them. So our clothes get dirty and our body also gets dirty and we become impure, and we can remove it easily.
लेकिन हमारे कर्म में भी कुछ माटी लगी है.
But there are some impurities in our work as well, or karma as well. Our whatever work we do, is it pure? Because nobody can stay without doing any work. We all are active and doing work. So if our work is pure or not, because we get contaminated by our karma, and that contamination is attachment to that activity. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you can understand with this verse from Bhagavad Gita,
सदोषम अपि न त्यजेत. ये हमारे काम का नहीं है ऊपर की दो लाइन, वो नीचे की दो लाइन में आपको मेनली कहना चाहता हूं. सर्वारंभा ही दोषेण धूमेन अग्नि इवावृताः. कृष्ण कहते हैं लास्ट दो लाइन में देखो.
so Krishna says in last two lines,
किसी भी प्रकार के कर्म में दोष होता है
all kinds of work has some contamination, no matter what. So I had one friend who was my best friend, whose name was Amidonda. So now he is a devotee. But we used to study in school, college, and there was a gap, and he became a great diamond merchant. And I got busy with preaching work. And after 15 years, we met on the day of Janmashtami. As he's an old friend, so I thought, and he was faithful since childhood. So I started discussing scriptural knowledge. So as he was rich, so he had some. So I was telling that this human life, we should perform devotional services, that I haven't done anything wrong for anyone, then why should I perform devotional service? So he's a gentleman. He said that I'm busy with my work and I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't criticized others, nor have I distressed others or harmed anyone. So why should I perform devotional service like you? So I said, okay. So I said that you stay in Borivali, you go to office. So when you start from home to your office, you get down from the building. Under your shoes, you kill so many insects. How have they harmed you that you have killed them all? Then you sit in the car and you go to the office, and so many insects get killed under that tire of the car. So I enumerated all this, and gradually he became a devotee. He took initiation and he himself became a preacher. Krishna says in Gita, in any work there is a
मैं 10th
contamination.
पास करके जब कॉलेज में गया, कॉमर्स
So
का
when I
और अकाउंट्स का पीरियड
passed my school and entered into college, and I had taken commerce, and
तो उन्होंने बोर्ड पर एक सेंटेंस लिखा
on the board
कि आप
the teacher
business
wrote a
class में
sentence,
आए हो, मतलब
you're
business
in a
सीखने के लिए
business
आए हो,
class because you're here to
इस
learn
दुनिया में ऐसा कोई
business.
बिजनेस नहीं है
So
जहाँ
there
पर
is
गलत
no
काम करना
business
पड़े,
where you need not
बिजनेस करना
do
है
anything
तो
that is
आपको
wrong.
काम करना ही
If you
पड़ेगा।
want to
आपको
do
दो
business, then
तो 10 में
you
पास है
will
तो कहना ही
have
पड़ेगा
to do
कि
something
आपने
wrong.
आया है, दो
Then you
प्रॉफिट
have to
आपको
say that
गलत करना
I
है।
have bought it in 8 and you should
कोई मतलब
take
ऐसा कोई
in 10.
काम ही नहीं है जहाँ पर दोष न हो, ये कृष्ण कहते
So
हैं।
Krishna himself is saying
कृष्ण
that
चौथे
there is
अध्याय में
no work
एग्जाम्पल देते
that
हैं,
does not have
जेन
any
अग्नि इव वृत्ति।
contamination or
जैसे
impurity.
आप अग्नि जलाते हो, राइट, आप
He
अग्नि
says, if we
आपने
burn a fire,
जलाई है आग के लिए और
so
कोई
you
काम
have
नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन
put
बाय
on the
प्रोडक्ट
fire
आपको
for
करना है कि नहीं?
fire, but the byproduct
आपको
is
धुआं की
smoke.
जरूरत है,
We don't
आप
require
आग
the
लगाइए,
smoke.
आग
We
के लिए
want
अग्नि
just the
चाहिए,
fire,
लेकिन बिना वजह
but
कारण
without any
धुआं
reason, we
कृष्ण
get
कहता
the
है
smoke as well. So
अग्नि में
Krishna
धुआं
says
अग्नि
that
के साथ आ
smoke
ही जाता है,
comes
उसी तरह कृष्ण के
automatically
साथ बुरे
with the fire.
कर्मों का भी
Similarly,
पाप आ ही जाता
with
है।
our work,
ठोकर
the
लगी
sin
है,
also comes
तो फिर
attached
उस पाप
and
से
we
कैसे
cannot reject
बचोगे?
it.
अभी
So,
आपने
how are
पढ़ा
we
है,
going
तो
to
फिर उस पाप से कैसे बचोगे? तो
save ourselves
जो भी
from this
कर्म
sin?
करते हैं
So,
उसमें
whatever
कोई
work
न
that
कोई
we
ना कोई
do,
दोष है,
it has some
लेकिन
shortcomings or
उस समय
failures
यदि हम
or
अटैच
contamination.
रहेंगे,
But if we are
डिटैच रहेंगे,
unattached or
आसक्ति से
detached
मुक्त होकर वो कर्म करेंगे,
and
तो
we
वो
do
दोष
this
नहीं
work,
लगेगा, वो
then
पाप
we
नहीं
won't
लगेगा।
incur that sin.
इसलिए जीवन के कर्म करो,
Therefore,
लेकिन
we should
कर्म में
work,
आसक्ति न
but we
रखो।
should not be
जो व्यक्ति
attached to
कर्म
that
में
work.
आसक्त
A
होता है
person who is
वो
attached to his
अपवित्र
work,
होता है, याद
he
रखिएगा।
becomes
कर्म करना मना नहीं
impure.
है,
It's
कर्म
not
करना
bad
बुरी
to
चीज,
work.
खूब कर्म करो,
We should
पैसे
work
कमाने की
hard.
वृत्ति है, खूब कमाओ, किस
If
तरह
you
से
have
किया,
this nature to earn money, you
लेकिन
should
उस
do
कर्म
that.
में आसक्त
But
हुए
if
तो
we
आप
get attached
अपवित्र
to
हैं।
that, then you will
साफ
become
क्लियर कह दिया, कृष्ण
contaminated.
कहने लगा
Krishna reveals it
स्वस्वेदम
straightforwardly
शरीरम,
here in this verse.
कर्म में अनासक्त हो तो आप
If
पवित्र
you
हो,
are detached
और यदि
from your
आप
work,
कर्म में
then you
आसक्त
are
हो
pure.
तो
But
आप
if you are attached,
अपवित्र हो।
then you are then you are
इसलिए
contaminated.
कभी कुछ धनियों की बात कर रहा हूँ, सबकी बात
So
नहीं है, नहीं तो
I'm
दूसरों
not
को बुरा लगेगा।
talking about someone, but I'm talking about some.
कुछ धनी ऐसे होते हैं
Some
जो
people
4-4
are
चार
wealthy.
8-8 के 12 करने में ही पड़े हैं,
They
हैं?
are always
आज આપણે
engaged in
ગણતરી આપણે કશું ના
multiplying
હોય,
their wealth in manifolds.
ગણતરી આપણે કાચી જ છે પહેલેથી, તો બસ उसका यही लगा होता है, वही वही आसक्ति, वही
So they are attached
कर्म
to
करते हैं,
multiplying
अधिक
their
धन
wealth.
अधिक पैसा, ऐसा होता
So
है, जिसके पास ज्यादा पैसा उसको
a
ज्यादा
person
लोभ
who
होता
has
है।
more wealth, he becomes more
सबके पास नहीं
greedy.
है, लेकिन ऐसा
I'm not
होता
talking
है,
about everyone, but this
जिसको
is a
ज्यादा
common scenario.
लोभ है, ज्यादा उसमें आसक्त है, ज्यादा,
A person becomes
तो वो
greedy and
अपवित्र है।
attached, so
और
he
इसीलिए
is
इसीलिए
contaminated.
श्री
Therefore,
चैतन्य
Sri
महाप्रभु
Chaitanya
धनी
Mahaprabhu
आदमियों से नहीं मिलते थे।
never used to meet
आप चैतन्य
opulent
महाप्रभु की
people.
हिस्ट्री देखिए,
If you see the history of Chaitanya
चैतन्य
Mahaprabhu,
महाप्रभु कभी कोई धनी
he
राजा तो उसके लिए कुछ था ही नहीं,
never used to
राजा तो उन्हें
meet
चाहिए
him.
ही नहीं, क्योंकि
He
उनको
used to
आसक्त है,
refuse
रानियों में
that
आसक्त
I
है,
don't
महलों में
want to meet
आसक्त
any
है,
king
अपने
because he's
कर्म में जो
attached to his
आसक्त है
kingdom,
वो
his wives,
अपवित्र है।
etc. And a
कर्म
person
में
who
जो
is
आसक्त
attached to
मतलब
his work,
कर्म में जो
he is
आसक्त है वो पवित्र
contaminated.
है, उसकी संगति नहीं करनी चाहिए, वो अपवित्र है।
So we should not
आप रुद्र
associate
प्रभु
ourselves
महाप्रभु
with
के
a
रूप में
person
वो भी
who is
अपवित्र था,
attached to
वो
his
भी
work.
डिवोटी था,
So
लेकिन चैतन्य
King
महाप्रभु का वो राजा है ना,
Pratap Rudra was a devotee,
ये राजा लोग
but he was
बहुत
a king. So
आसक्त होते हैं,
Chaitanya
ये
Mahaprabhu said, I
अपवित्र
don't want to
होते
meet him
हैं,
because
अपवित्र
a king
है,
is usually
ये
attached to his
ये
actions
अपवित्रता है।
or karma. So that is
लेकिन
contamination.
उसमें
But
आसक्त मत रहो,
if
तो
we
आपका
do the
कर्म
work, but
पवित्र
we
है।
are detached, then
और
our
मुझे
work
गर्व है,
becomes
भक्तों,
pure.
मुझे
And I'm
उमड़ का आवे कि ऐसे लोग मेरे
proud
साथ
that
हैं।
I have
ये
such
हमारे न्यू
people.
जर्सी से विपुल मालवीय,
So like people Malviya, he has such a great job. He works hard, but he is detached. I tell him that you should not take too much of it.
अरे देव कथा भी सुन रहे हैं वो बोले प्रभु मैं तो 2-5 लोगों को ज्यादा ही रख देता हूँ काम करने के लिए मैंने कहा क्यों भाई आप काम करने लायक हो
He
नहीं
said that I told them that you should work. So he has all the opportunity and everything, but he is not attached. That is what I have seen. And such, I feel like going down at the feet. Balbhadra Prabhu, I refused him that he should, but he refused that I don't want to work anymore. So that is detachment. So we should work hard. There is nothing wrong in doing our work.
कृष्ण प्रभु जितनी बार मिलते उतनी बार प्रभु अब छोड़ दूं जॉब छोड़ दूं देखो
So whenever he meets, he says that, shall I leave my job? So he's doing the work, but he's detached. He's thinking that when Prabhuji tells me, I will leave everything behind. So they are not attached to their work. So you will not get the sin. So you're going perfect. There won't be any problem. But if you get attached to your work, then you will be contaminated, and we should not associate with such contaminated people. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and people under his reciprocal succession keep a safe distance from such people. I'm not talking about all the opulent or wealthy people, but all those who are too much attached to their work. If we associate ourselves with them, then you will also get affected by them. So Krishna has beautifully defined what is purity. He says the greatest purity of all is to perform our actions being detached. And when we are detached with our action, if you eat at their homes, you will progress in your devotional service. A drop of water or a grain of water from their home will nourish your devotional service. Although he is a householder, but still he lives like a celibate. Therefore, Lord Krishna has beautifully. You all are already detached, so why am I speaking that much? I'm speaking for myself. We should live our life being detached. So, in this verse, the last question is, what is sannyas or celibacy? And Krishna responds to Uddhavji, he says, Tyagaha sannyas uchyate. Just by taking or wear saffron clothes is not celibacy. That means tyag. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. He was speaking about, yes, he says that we don't eat good, we don't he didn't even used to put oil on his hair. So although it will become too personal, but as your mind, I'm sharing in US in Alachua a few days back from Mayapur, the greatest devotee of Radha Madhav, His Holiness Janivas Prabhu was here. He is a stalwart devotee of the Lord. And as you're aware, a Gujarati has a swing, and we have a swing in our home. So we were sitting, and a few devotees came. So there is a loving devotee, his name is Pran Govind Prabhu. And he took Janivas Prabhu that you should sit here on the swing. He said, no, I cannot sit on the swing. He said, I can't. I said that just purify it. So he just sat there for half a minute or so. And he said,
भुगत रहे हैं,
it feels that I am
सेल्फ सेटिस्फेक्शन हो रहा है, यहाँ हम नहीं,
incurring in self-satisfaction, so I should not sit here.
सन्यासी ऐसे होते हैं, त्याग.
This is the behavior of a
So,
sannyasi.
संन्यास का अर्थ क्या है? न्यास, उसमें दो शब्द है, सम और
So,
न्यास.
sannyas is comprised of two words.
हो जाना, सम
Nyas is
सम्यक
to
रूप से,
stabilize, and nyas is
से completely, पूर्ण रूप से
completely.
अपने स्वरूप में स्थित हो जाना, ये है संन्यास. अपना निज स्वरूप क्या है? जीवेर स्वरूप है कृष्णेर नित्य दास.
So, what is our eternal form? We are the eternal servitor of Lord Krishna.
प्रतिष्ठित हो
So,
जाना,
to establish ourselves in our eternal form is the greatest sacrifice of all. Oh, that is sannyas or celibacy.
अनात्मा माने जिसका आत्मा से कोई लेना देना नहीं है.
So, whatever is not related to
भौतिक वस्तु
the
ऐसी
soul,
अनात्मा का
it is
त्याग करके
all the material things, we should sacrifice them and then stabilize ourselves in our eternal form. That is true celibacy, and that is the greatest sacrifice.
केवल भगवाधारी दंडधारी सन्यासी नहीं है, जिसने अनात्मा का त्याग किया है वो
Who
सन्यासी.
has
फिर
let go of
वो सन्यासी है. हाँ,
the material things, then also he can be considered as a celibate or a sannyas.
परंपरा में ठाकुर
In
भक्ति
our Gauriya Parampara, Thakur Bhakti Vinod
सप्तम गोस्वामी कहे गए.
is considered as the seventh Goswami.
तो क्या वो सन्यासी थे? नहीं, भगवाधारी थे.
Was he a
उसके
sannyasi?
10 पुत्र
No.
थे.
He had
पूरा
10
परिवार था.
sons. He had a great family,
जीवन सन्यास था.
but his life was of a celibate.
सन्यास है अनात्मा का त्याग, आसक्ति का
So
त्याग,
the actual
और
sacrifice is
उन्नति के लिए जो कर्म कार्य है उसका
to
त्याग करना.
let go of material things and desires
कारण भगवान श्री कृष्ण
and to focus on the
हमारे
benefit of
उपाध्याय
the
हैं.
soul.
आप सब लोग बड़े
So
धैर्य से
you all have been listening with so much patience and love. I'm really grateful to you.
धन्यवाद.
And especially, I want to extend my thanks
राजऋषि
to
प्रभु वैसे ही
Rajrishi Prabhu.
वरिष्ठ भक्त है.
He is a senior devotee. He is like Pitama Bhishma. He had heard so many pastimes and read so many books. And the Katha that is organized by him. And this kind of pastime is justifiable because this is just a philosophical discussion. But I hope that he gets satisfied, and by his mercy and support, we all are listening to this Katha. So I'm really thankful to you. And we remember Anila Mataji. So let's conclude the fourth day of Katha with Jai Jaikar.
श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की